Hundreds of towering white floral funeral wreaths lining the sidewalks of Seoul.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, completely blocking the entrance to a monolithic entertainment building. Black ribbons are just fluttering in the wind. The teasers dropped.
Right.
The fandom went silent. In an instant, the entire K-pop world was turned upside down.
Yeah, it really was.
Welcome to StarScope K-Report. Join Eric and Minji as we ride the Hallyu wave, uncovering the biggest K-pop comebacks, shocking industry controversies, and major K-drama updates.
From internet-breaking rumors to historic chart milestones, we dive deep into the world of Korean entertainment.
So today's deep dive is, well, it's about a 10-month hiatus that ended, only to spark what is basically the most shocking physical protest in modern K-pop history.
It really is. I mean, we are looking at a huge stack of recent sources today.
We are.
Everything from the Straits Times and ABS-CBN to the Korea Herald and Korea Boo, just trying to unpack this headline that completely shook the industry.
Or funeral wreaths headline.
Exactly. They sent funeral wreaths.
Yeah.
It's being called the darkest day in K-pop history. And we're going to explore the whole timeline of Riize's member Seunghan, the cultural civil war it sparked between domestic and international fans, and what this all means for the future of the Hallyu wave.
Right, because this is, a defining stress test for the entire K-pop business model right now. You have a domestic audience demanding one thing, and a global audience demanding the exact opposite.
And an agency caught right in the crossfire.
Yeah, so let's ground this by looking at how the timeline actually unfolded.
Good idea.
Because Riize debuted in September of 2023 under SM Entertainment, and this wasn't just a quiet debut.
Not at all.
They had a massive hit called Get a Guitar. They were immediately positioned as the next big powerhouse of the fifth generation of K-pop.
Right. The visuals, the vocals, everything was there.
Exactly. But just 2 months later, their 21-year-old member, Seunghan, is placed on an indefinite hiatus.
After just 2 months.
It's just 2 months. And the reason comes down to leaked pre-debut photos. So we are talking about photos of him kissing a woman in bed.
And we should point out, both fully clothed in the photos.
Yes, both fully clothed. I definitely need to point that out. Oh. And there was a video of him allegedly smoking underage.
Right, and I think we really have to recognize that the timing of those photos matters just as much as the content,
How so?
Well, these weren't taken while he was an active, promoted idol. They were from his past.
Right.
Like before he even debuted. But in this industry, I mean, the past is heavily audited by the public.
It really is. So, okay, fast forward almost a year to October 11th. Wizard Production, which is the specific division inside SM Entertainment that manages Riize, they officially announced Seunghan's return.
Right, the big comeback.
Yeah, they put out a statement arguing that the group's next chapter would be, more meaningful with all 7 members together.
Which made a lot of international fans really happy. Mm-hmm.
Oh, hugely happy. And to back this up, his fellow member, Wonbin, posts this deeply heartfelt message on the fan community app, Weverse.
I read that.
Yeah, he's essentially asking the fandom to trust them and, support the decision. So for a brief second, it felt like a triumphant comeback.
It did, but that feeling evaporated almost instantly.
Just gone.
Yeah, because the domestic backlash mobilized with a speed and an aggression that I think caught the agency entirely off guard.
Definitely.
K-netz, the Korean netizens, reacted with overwhelming disapproval. And this is where we get that surreal visual of the funeral wreaths.
Right. Over 1,000 of these towering white wreaths were sent directly to SM's Seoul headquarters. It's just an unbelievable sight.
They're massive.
And they weren't just flowers, right? They carried massive banners with messages demanding his permanent removal, broadcasting slogans like, Riize is forever 6.
And the physical presence of those wreaths is a really crucial detail here.
Yeah.
Because in Korean culture, these specific types of wreaths, they are sent for funerals or very major events. Surrounding an entertainment agency with them is a highly visible, incredibly grim statement.
Right. It's not subtle.
Not at all.
Huh.
It physically barricades the executives inside.
Yeah.
It creates a total media spectacle, and it just publicly humiliates the company.
And the sheer pressure of that spectacle actually worked.
Which is the crazy part.
Right. Just 2 days later, on October 13th, we get a complete 48-hour whiplash. Wizard production directors Kim Hyung-guk and Lee Sang-min backtrack entirely.
He completely caved.
They announced Seunghan's permanent departure. They literally state that their original decision to bring him back caused fans greater confusion and pain.
Wow.
Yeah, and shortly after that, Seunghan releases a handwritten letter on Weverse explaining he chose to step down to stop the fans from fighting.
And that supportive post from Wonbin,
quietly deleted.
Just gone. I mean, you have one of the legacy giants of K-pop completely reversing a major business decision under the physical manifestation of fan anger. That sets a fascinating and highly complex precedent for who actually runs the agency.
It really does. But I really need to push back on the scale of this outrage, though.
Okay, go ahead.
Because when you look at the landscape of K-pop scandals, there is a very jarring contrast here. Just look at the data broken down by outlets like Music Mundial regarding idols who have actually been removed for severe controversies.
Like real crimes.
Yes. You have former NCT member Taeil, who was recently ousted due to serious sexual crime allegations. Or look at Seungri from Big Bang, who was deeply tied up in the infamous Burning Sun scandal.
Right.
Which was an event that involved systemic, illegal, real-world crimes.
Right, you were talking about literal felonies that resulted in prison time for people.
Exactly. It feels like watching a movie where a character gets exiled from the entire kingdom for jaywalking, while actual villains are just roaming the streets.
That's a great way to put it.
Right. Second was the teenager doing normal teenager things before he even debuted. And on top of that, his privacy was violated by whoever leaked the media in the first place.
Yeah, he didn't post it.
No. Yet his punishment matches the career-ending fallout of someone who committed a heinous crime. I mean, how does that disparity make any logical sense?
Well, to understand the logic, we have to kind of look past Western legal or moral frameworks and examine the mechanics of the parasocial consumer contract.
Okay, unpack that.
We need to look at how a fan actually becomes a hardcore K-pop stan. In the domestic market, being a fan isn't just streaming a song on Spotify while you ride the bus, you know?
Right, it's a lifestyle.
It requires a massive financial and emotional investment. Fans will buy 50, sometimes 100 copies of the exact same physical CD.
Just to get the photo cards.
Yes, or just to win a lottery ticket for a 30-second video call with a member. They stay up until 4 in the morning voting on music shows to ensure the group gets an all-kill on the charts.
So they view themselves more like angel investors or shareholders than just casual listeners.
Precisely. They physically build the artist's career, block by block.
Wow, okay.
So in exchange for that investment, the agency is selling them a very specific product, which is the illusion of perfection and availability.
Availability meaning they are single.
Yes. The unspoken rule in the East Asian idol industry is do not date, and if you do not get caught.
Right.
When an idol is exposed acting like a regular person, dating, smoking, breaking that pristine image, the domestic fandom doesn't just see it as a moral failing. Within their cultural framework, it is a literal product defect.
Oh, wow.
It's a breach of contract.
So they feel defrauded.
Yes, they do. They invested their time and money into building a flawless brand, and they feel the artist jeopardized that brand's equity.
That is wild to think about.
So sending the wreaths isn't just random anger, To a K-netz consumer, it's a desperate attempt to protect their investment and force the company to recall the defective part before it ruins the entire group's reputation.
Okay. That makes the domestic reaction much more understandable from an economic standpoint, at least.
Yeah.
But wait till you hear what international netizens uncovered next and how they turned around and hit the agency right where it hurts.
Because the domestic fans aren't the only ones holding the purse strings anymore.
Definitely not. And real quick, before we get into that financial warfare, if you love staying updated on your biases and the latest industry shifts, make sure you're subscribed to StarScope K-Report. We've got even bigger scoops ahead.
We do. So, bridging over to that global fallout, we're looking at a full-blown cultural civil war here.
Yeah, we are.
The divide between I-fans, the international fans, and K-netz couldn't be more extreme.
The reporting from the Straits Times and ABS-CBN really captured this clash perfectly. Domestically, the reaction to Seunghan's withdrawal was largely celebratory.
Right, they were thrilled.
Yeah, if you look at platforms like Weibo and Xiaohongshu, the dominant sentiment was like, we won, or serves him right, and idols aren't supposed to date. They felt their physical protests worked. They saved Riize from a ruined reputation.
But then you cross over into the international fandom, and the atmosphere is pure devastation and horror.
Just total shock.
Yeah. The international community is operating on a completely different set of terms. The Straits Times made a really brilliant comparison to Western pop stars.
Oh, right, the boy band comparison.
Think about Justin Timberlake during the NSYNC era. He openly dated Britney Spears. Or Harry Styles dating Taylor Swift at the absolute peak of One Direction's global fame.
And that didn't end their careers. I mean, it actually fueled their popularity, put them on the cover of every magazine.
Exactly. Western audiences don't expect their pop stars to be celibate monks.
Right.
So when iFans see a 21-year-old having his career destroyed over a pre-debut kiss, they don't see a breach of a consumer contract. They see a gross violation of human rights and personal privacy.
And this creates an incredibly tense East versus West debate. The Straits Times pointed out a really nuanced detail in how K-netz are responding to this international outrage, though.
What do they say?
Well, some domestic fans view the iFan pushback as, and this is a quote, white people lording their cultural superiority over Asians.
Wow, okay.
Yeah, they feel like Western fans are swooping in, ignoring the cultural nuances of how the Korean idol industry operates, and demanding that Korean agencies adopt Western moral standards.
I mean, we're not picking sides here, obviously, but it's a fascinating sociocultural clash.
Right.
Who gets to dictate the morality of a globalized product?
Right.
The country that birthed it or the global audience consuming it?
It's a tough question, but the iFans didn't just sit around tweeting about human rights. They organized and they hit the wallets.
They really did.
We're seeing actual financial retaliation. Academics like Professor Eric Capistrano from the University of the Philippines, he's been tracking the sheer power of the international fandom. And the mechanics of this boycott are wild. Global K-pop retailers actually began weaponizing their own inventory.
Halting restocks, right?
Yeah.
That is an extreme escalation.
Massive escalation. We are talking about major global stores like Core Merch in Singapore and huge Filipino shops like NCAT Philippines, Chingu Dachi, CNA K-pop, and Seoul Stop.
Wow.
Yeah, these independent retailers explicitly announced they would not restock Riize merchandise until SM Entertainment provided an acceptable resolution.
It's a huge step for a business.
NCAT Philippines even released a statement saying they couldn't, in good conscience, tolerate the injustice.
Let's just pause and appreciate how unprecedented that is. You have independent businesses willingly sacrificing their own revenue streams to stand in solidarity with the international fandom.
Right? They are taking a hit.
Yeah, that proves this isn't just internet noise, it's tangible economic pressure.
And it hit their digital footprint hard, too. Riize's official Instagram bled 200,000 followers in just 4 days.
4 days.
Yeah. Then you have the fan statements. K-Station TV published an official release from iFans calling the agency's handling of the situation an anti-human rights riot.
Anti-human rights riot. That is strong language.
Very strong. They actively demanded SM take legal action against the individuals who invaded Seunghan's privacy by leaking the photos in the first place, rather than punishing the victim of the leak.
This brings up the psychological toll of the protest tactics themselves, though. Yvette Won wrote an incredibly powerful piece in the Korea Herald analyzing the nature of those funeral wreaths.
Yeah, that was a great article.
She argues that we need to stop dismissing them as just a quirky, passionate protest tactic. According to her analysis, this is psychological warfare.
Because at the end of the day, you are sending funeral wreaths to a 21-year-old who is very much alive. The implications are incredibly dark.
Very dark. She makes the case that these wreaths should be classified as death threats and intentional emotional damage, not protected free speech or consumer activism.
Right.
And this isn't an isolated incident. We've seen similar wreath protests, recently directed at BTS's Suga and Hypen's Youngwon.
Yeah, it's becoming a trend.
When you anonymously coordinate sending symbols of death to a young person's workplace, Won argues that crosses a hard line from a legitimate consumer complaint into targeted systemic harassment.
So here is a major question I have for you.
No.
Because SM Entertainment didn't just launch Riize in a vacuum, right?
Right.
From the very beginning, they partnered with an American label, RCA Records, specifically to take this group global. So if an agency is actively courting the international market and partnering with Western heavyweights, can they really afford to completely ignore the values of the international fans they're trying to attract?
That is the multi-million-dollar question. And frankly, no, they cannot.
Right.
The current K-pop business model is facing a sustainability crisis. You cannot aggressively market a group as a global act to Western audiences, but exclusively adhere to the most conservative domestic standards.
It just doesn't work.
No. Eventually, the cognitive dissonance tears the fandom apart. Agencies are slowly realizing that if you want to expand the Hallyu wave into a truly global ocean, you eventually have to expand the rulebook.
And some agencies are already throwing that rule book directly into the fire.
Oh, completely.
Later in the deep dive, we'll talk about the shocking plot twist for Seunghan's 2025 future that nobody saw coming. But first, we have to talk about how the industry is fracturing right now.
The rise of the anti-idols. This is where the paradigm shift is actually happening in real time.
Yes. The Straits Times reported on this emerging group called Waif Boys, who recently signed with the U.S. label StarScope, and they are actively, intentionally breaking every single unwritten rule in the K-pop playbook.
It is the exact opposite of the perfectly polished, flawlessly behaved idol image.
The complete opposite.
Waif Boys are hiding their faces behind illustrations. They're using unfiltered profanity in their music and videos.
Wait, hold on. It goes way further than profanity. They literally posted security camera footage of two members getting into an actual physical fistfight.
Like a real fight.
Yes. And they titled the video, quote, "Who won?"
Which is absolutely wild when you consider that Seunghan lost his career over a private, consensual kiss. Posting a fistfight is a deliberate signal. It shows that labels, especially those eyeing the U.S. and South American markets, recognize a massive gap in the market.
What kind of gap?
Well, Western audiences actually crave authenticity, grit, and a bit of edge. The traditional perfect idol model is actively being abandoned by agencies trying to capture the exact market Riize was aimed at.
Because they know the international fans want artists who feel like real humans, flaws and all.
Precisely. They are monetizing the rebellion against the very standards that domestic fans enforce.
So because SM Entertainment is currently trapped between the domestic anger and the international wallets, they had to find a back door to keep Seunghan without triggering another protest.
Right.
And eagle-eyed fans just spotted what that back door might actually look like.
The 2025 plot twist.
Yes. So according to a transcript from the YouTube channel Cookielit, after months of absolute radio silence, fans spotted Seunghan in a highly unexpected place. Amazon is releasing a beautifully shot cinematic documentary in May 2025 about SM's founder, Lee Soo-man. Suddenly, out of nowhere, there is a scene showing Seunghan practicing choreography in the studio.
Oh, wow. The visual alone probably sent the fandom into overdrive.
Total overdrive. But the context of that scene is the real message.
Right.
Over the footage of Seunghan dancing, there is a very deliberate voiceover from Lee Soo-man himself. The quote is, "The most important thing is to have a team that can achieve harmony because the team is made of aces."
Anyone who studies how SM Entertainment operates knows that nothing in a documentary of that scale is an accident.
Every frame is planned.
Every frame is curated. Fans immediately and logically interpreted this as SM quietly confirming that Seunghan is still considered an ace within the company.
So what does this actually mean on the ground? Well, reports are now surfacing that he is gearing up for a solo debut or potentially joining a permanent dance crew around July of 2025.
As a strategic move, it is brilliant crisis management. Well, launching him in a dance crew or as a soloist acts as a massive loophole. It allows SM to test the public waters with Seunghan under a fresh creative leader concept.
Oh, so it totally bypasses the strict rules of a traditional idol boy group.
That is the beauty of it. If you are in a dance trio or you are a soloist, the consumer expectations shift dramatically. You aren't being marketed as the perfect, innocent, imaginary boyfriend anymore.
Right.
The brand is built around raw talent and artistic expression. It allows SM to retain a highly skilled performer without risking the reputation and the massive financial investment of a full 7-member idol group.
Hit that subscribe button so you never miss a KT update as we track Seunghan's highly anticipated 2025 return, because we are definitely going to be following every detail of this comeback.
It serves as a real-time case study in how to rehabilitate an artist's image when you are caught between two warring demographics.
It really does. When you look at how this whole saga unfolded, I mean, from a promising rookie debut to a scandal over pre-debut photos, the 48-hour comeback reversal, the sheer intimidation of 1,000 funeral wreaths, the global retail boycott, and now this cryptic documentary tease, it just feels like a major turning point for the entire Korean entertainment sector.
It absolutely is. And it leaves us with a very profound contradiction to consider.
Yeah.
If international fans hold the global streaming and purchasing power, but domestic fans hold the physical power to show up at agency doors with funeral wreaths, who really holds the leash on the K-pop industry?
That is a fascinating thought.
As the Hallyu wave expands further into the West, agencies will eventually have to choose which master they serve.
You've been listening to StarScope K-Report, where Eric and Minji bring you the stories shaping K-pop, K-dramas, and the global Hallyu wave. Thanks for tuning in, and don't forget to subscribe for more stories that keep the stars shining.